All right. Well, here we are live. My name is Debbie Roth. I am a coach of forgiveness work, and I am the owner of Forgiving Connects. And it is my pleasure to be here with Nick Segal. And Nick, I don't know your title these days. So could you introduce yourself and give what you're doing?
Sure. First of all, it's lovely to be here and to spend time with you and bring forward whatever comes forward in terms of greater abundance and the manifestation of that. So my title is the president of Southern California for a real estate company called Compass, and that is a national brand. And now we are the #1 independent in the nation and #3 overall. So it's a very vast web, 8,000 real estate agents and 20 major cities and growing by the breath.
Excellent. Excellent. And you are also an author, I understand, of On Your Terms. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. My wife, Laura, and I, we created that book 4 years in the making, and it speaks to value consciousness. It speaks to awareness. It speaks to, in many respects, forgiveness, and the further definition of what is success for you as an individual, and how you can get a really clear understanding and an execution strategy to create that. And then there are 9 negotiating principles, which is the association of an action step and a clear intention with each action step to assist people who may not be as confident in their abilities as negotiators to guide them through that process to ask and get what they want.
Excellent. Well, that feeds in really well to what we're here for today, which is taking a look at self-forgiveness and money. It's really a new pairing of, how powerful self-forgiveness is to create financial success, especially by letting go of the limiting stories that we tell ourselves around money, our perceptions of ourselves and money, and our worthiness to receive, and more. So really what my intention is here is for the people who are watching, for you to receive an education on the value of self-forgiveness to creating financial success through Nick's experience. Nick, you have so much background in moving into a place of financial success and really shifting the stories that you may have learned when you were younger or in your early adulthood. And so I'm really happy to have you here. And the other piece of it is for the people who are watching that, my hope is that you have at least one or more practical tools that you can try out in your life and see, well, what happens when I practice forgiveness or I practice this tool? How does that impact my abundance, the way that I view success and define that, and also to really create a solid foundation with your money. Money is a practical metric, as we were talking about, Nick, on financial success. So just setting a little bit of context for what we're doing here. So Nick, could you share what have been your keys to financial success? And if you'd like to share also like anything about your story and where, how you came to where you are today, that would be great. And what were the keys that you used to really get there, both inside and out?
Sure. Okay. Well, that's a broad span. So let me fill that in a little bit. I believe that, well, as a kid, I felt I was on the outside looking in on success. There was success around me. My parents had friends that were successful, but both my parents were artists. And so we didn't have a lot of monetary success. And so as I started to grow up and I wanted success, I had to first get over the belief system that either belonged in the room or I didn't belong in the room. And so what I mean by that is how can I feel comfortable in my skin that
Mm.
that one, I bring value to whatever environment I'm in, and two, that I can articulate that value from my own sense of belief and that sense of worthiness, and
Mm.
do it from a place of an offering.
Mm.
I found in every facet of my growth, when I come at it from a place of service, when I come at it from a place of I'm just giving the best of who I am in this moment,
Mm.
you do with it what you will. If it serves you, great. If it doesn't, okay, it doesn't. But I found my first level of value and the claiming of that value was that I have something to give. I went to a
Mm.
Quaker prep school. My parents died by the time I was 14. So that was a life-altering experience for me.
Mm.
And I had the opportunity to go to a Quaker boarding school. And although my father had a guru and actually Charan Singh, and there's a whole lineage with all of that with John Roger, and which is fun in
Mm.
its own right. And one of the first messagings that I heard about spirituality, and not from a place of religion, but more spiritual perspective, was there's a light of goodness in everybody. And sometimes you just need to look a little deeper to find it.
Mm.
Well, as opposed to look, so I started, okay, where's your light? Where's your light? Where's your light? And what I realized was, wait a minute, I got to ask that question myself first.
Mm.
Where's my light? And my light is there. And then, okay, so now what are the limiting beliefs that I'm placing upon myself in order to achieve the success that I want so that I can feel worthy to walk into any room? And the
Mm.
first thing that I needed to get over was the shame that, one, my parents had died, and two, there was a shame that we didn't have those things that I saw other people in the room that had.
Mm.
So I had to forgive myself that wasn't my path as its origin, but it could become my path.
Wow. Can I pause you there for a moment?
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. Firstly, what I heard you say are two keys to assist you in really stepping into financial success or opening into that. And the first is to really approach everything that you're doing, each phase, as being of service, that you have something to offer, so that that can be really a focus for your direction. And the second is to use self-forgiveness as a way to identify and let go of the stories, the perceptions that you had of yourself, the messages that you had, so that you could open to your worthiness to receive and just be in the room. So did I hear you accurately?
Yeah, the second part is more, I hadn't quite gotten to the forgiveness. I knew that I needed to, but the question
Okay,
became, how did I do that?
right.
And it became first acceptance. The first law of spirituality is acceptance. And
Absolutely.
so I needed to accept that I didn't grow up in those environments where I was handed those things. I wasn't invited into the room on that level. So I needed to create invitations into rooms
Mhm.
by my own path and my own authentic path. And so what I realized was I accepted the fact that I didn't come from those places, but two, I accepted the fact that I had value. And then in the giving of that value, I could then create a greater opportunity.
Yeah.
And then as a parallel path in the acceptance and then the service was then to forgive myself for the things that I'm not, because that's not my doing. And whatever my path is, to judge it was just simply an opportunity to forgive it. And then there's nothing for me to, in the scheme of things, it's not mine to forgive, but I needed to claim the forgiveness inside of myself so I could come to a peace,
Yeah.
comfortable level playing field, and then I could grow from there without the inhibitors of judgment and shame and fear.
Wow, that's really incredible. And I love how you slowed that down. That first you came to the awareness of like, God, here are these beliefs that I'm holding and I need to forgive. And that, forgiveness does not necessarily come like right away of like, oh, hey, I need to forgive this. So let me just forgive and that's it. That starting with acceptance, that is That is huge. And, as you know, offering a 4-month group on self-forgiveness and money. And one of the key things, two of the keys that we're starting with are first observation. So to become aware of, well, what are the limiting beliefs that are blocking each one of us from creating financial success, from being, more present to our own value and what we want to create, and also acceptance as a way just to be okay with what is. So, God, you couldn't have said it better. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So anything else in regards to the keys that you've been using to assist you in creating the success with where you are now?
Well, I keep referencing this room, getting into the room. And at some point, and what I've done my best in articulating to those around me as I educate and offer from a place of service tools and techniques, information, so that they can feel more confident in their ability to ask for what they want and then get it, is the idea of how do you get in the room? Success takes place by participating. It takes place by energy and its movement and its momentum. And how do I harness those three things to propel me into an opportunity or a room where I can then present who I am, ask for what I want, give something in return of equal or greater value, and come away progressing my evolution of my success forward. And so I have this phrase where I say, just get me in the room. And that's a level of confidence that is earned. And I'll say, I don't know if I've earned it ultimately or not, but I know that my intention is to get in the room, and I'll work it out when I get there, because I have enough information, enough faith in myself, enough of an ability to stay so present with what's coming forward and what's at me. And it's so clear in what it is that I'm asking for, and having done the research of understanding what it is that you need when I walk into that room, so that I can honor you by saying, my understanding is you need this, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? Perception checking. And my told me you need, can we find an alignment in that, where I'm going to offer this good or this service, and in return you're going to give me back this good or service, and we're both going to come away in alignment, in a harmonization, and we both get more of what we want. That ultimately is success.
That's really amazing. I hear sounds like a part of success for you is really collaborating with the person that you're working with or negotiating with, so that you're really both getting what you want, and how can you work together toward creating what you want. And that a part of your thing is like, okay, just get me in the room. And it sounds to me, tell me if this is accurate for you, that a part of your inner work has been to really stand in, just get me in the room, and to be able to take action to propel you forward.
Well, it's a singular focus. Life is about singular focus. And I've gotten better at singular focus. There's always room for improvement. But anybody watching this, if they have an objective as to what they want, and they're using self-forgiveness, and through your facilitation, that they can see more clearly what's standing in their way, so that they can forgive it, so that they can get to a neutral place where they can say that I'm now not distracted by my shame, my judgments, any of those things, the opinions of others that hold me back. Now I have more energy to move forward. And now with that energy, how do I place it in more singular focuses, whether it be a room, be it a project, be it an email, be it pick up the phone and call someone to move your own agenda forward. The clarity of purpose to do it without the distraction of those perceived negatives that forgiveness and acceptance and observation wash away. Now you're empowered and you're lifted to move forward. So that's where get me in the room is just an analogy.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the great things about this group, and whether or not, like the viewers, like whether or not you do this group, And one of the real keys is each person picks a project that is so clear for them, of like, this is what I really want to be creating financially in my life, and develop a clear action plan with
That's right.
measurable steps that they'll know at the end of the 4 months, like, have I gotten there? And certainly, some life happens, and it's awesome when, we put out to the universe, hey, this is what I want. And then, what we might get back is, okay, so you were planning to take these steps, and then I have this step over here that's really going to get you there. So part of it is just paying attention to all that and being so present in life that it's like, okay, here I am. And that you have the energy to do that because you're not distracted.
You must have the energy, because there are plenty of obstacles that will come up along the way. And having the determination and having the clear intention of what the ultimate driving purpose is, those are the things, that's the energy and the movement and the momentum you need to pierce through those temporary setbacks. And that's, life is designed that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the benefit to doing, a group that spans over a number of months, to really assist people in, paying more attention, being more aware, so that when they do get off track, it's like, okay, well, what can I do right now to return me to, my intention, my focus, and my clear vision?
Absolutely. Actually, in the book, there are 4 paths to success, and it's defined by your levels of awareness. And the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So if you were in clear awareness and focus the whole time in your project, you would never deviate off that line, right? So that's the fastest way to get from A to B. But life moves us along in a trajectory. And so there's acute awareness, there's measured awareness, I forget how I put it, and then there's just the squirrel mindset, where the first shiny object just takes you off and you never come back online. So the more you're aware in the pursuit of what it is you want, and the clearer your intention is, the easier it is to get back into that alignment. So a 4-month window is a great opportunity to not only build new habits, to build them into the fabric of what it is you want to do. So I love that timeline.
And to be accountable to yourself, to say, like, okay, here's what I'm setting out to do, and I'm coming back to myself again and again and again, using measurable things to really assist you. And the other thing that was coming to me as you were talking is like, it's like, yes, absolutely. Like, there's the practical day-to-day, we're in a doing level. Here's what I want to create. Money is really tangible. And to me, a part of the incredible value and win of doing self-forgiveness is that no matter what is happening on the outside, that we become more aware of our goodness inside and how to love all of what's happening. So that blesses the path with a lot of, like, talk about service and grace.
It does indeed.
So I have another question for you, Nick.
Go ahead.
And that is, what shifted for you in your relationship with money? Like, how did you used to view money, and how do you view money now? Is there a difference for you, and what shifted?
Yeah, that's a great question. Money is a neutral commodity. The only energy money has on it is the energy we place on it. So I had a belief system that money was hard and it was for others, and they had easier times and my time was going to be hard. Look at my life path and the woe is me moment of all these things that have been inflicted upon me. How is it possible that I could ever realize my dreams or my goals? And the belief system around money was one that it was hard to get. And the shift started when I took that to a neutral place. And I not only forgave money, but I forgave my judgments around my belief system of money.
Wow.
And I realized $1 is just $1. The only energy is what I place on it. So getting that to a neutral place made it so much easier to realize that, well, money can flow to me just as easily as it flows away from me. I'm the steward of this ship, and how do I approach just my mindset towards it and my heart set towards it? So that's what served me.
Wow, that's incredibly powerful. And you're reminding me of, we talked about John Roger, and certainly he's a huge spiritual mentor in my life, and how he wrote the book Money, the Great Mirror of Consciousness. So it's like what we're doing with money and what we put on money, we put on ourselves, on our lives, in every area.
Is that part of your curriculum, reading material?
It's a good question. I don't think that book is in print anymore. However, I do plan to take from that. And there is a great meditation that John Roger did called A Meditation on Wealth. And that is something that I do plan to make as part of the curriculum.
Well, that's worth the price of admission right there.
It certainly is, isn't it? So something from On Your Term. I'm so sorry. On Your Terms. That's it.
On Your Terms, plural. Yeah.
I read the first 2 chapters last night, and I was riveted. It's a fantastic book, and the way you start out with, sharing your own story, and how that perhaps seeded the beliefs and messages that you've been talking about. And then the second chapter being perception is not reality, and that struck me as so powerful, because to me that's a lot of where self-forgiveness can be so valuable to assist us in altering our perceptions. And I wonder if you could speak to that for a bit, just any wisdom that you could share with someone who's watching, who wants to clean up their money, and how to really work with their perceptions. We've talked some about that, but if there's anything else you have, based on the book, I'd be happy to hear it.
Sure. Well, I think we can become, we need to be scientists of ourselves, and we need to really, you talk about observation, and I would take it one step further.
Yeah.
We need to be clinical about it. So I would ask anybody listening to this, what is your perception of money? Is it negative, positive, or neutral? And ideally, you want to get everything to neutral. Everything to neutral. Your attachment to whatever that project is, get it to neutral. You have more energy to do it as opposed to the energy it takes to clench your fists and hang on to the attachment of it. But to perception of something, I would, if I looked at a path from A to F, A, B, C, D, E, F, at each one of those letters, each one of those steps, I would ask the question, what's my perception of my ability to get there? Is it positive, negative, or neutral? Because we'll all have those hurdles, right? For some people, it could be the C step. For some, it could be the D step, where you're kind of cringing as you get closer to, because this is going to be hard, or this part of it's going to be difficult. And the more you can get to just asking the question of what is my perception of this? Because the perception is not the reality. The perception is a belief system that you've layered upon yourself from whatever your past relationships are or whatever's been ingrained in you. But you have a freedom. You have the power of choice. And in that moment, you can look at that perception and go, and look at it as neutrally and as lovingly and as forgivingly as you can. And then just simply say, oh, I've got a perception about D. Wow, that's fascinating. Well, how long do I want to hold on to that perception? And do I think that negative perception or that limiting perception is going to get me closer or further away from it? And if the answer is, I think it's going to take me further away from it, then there better be a little soul-searching peace moment or a meditation or whatever you want to do to that. How do I get to neutral on this? Give myself the better chance to move through it, to then E, and then close with F.
Wow. That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I do have one final question, Nick, and that is...
I hope I have an answer.
I think I have a feeling that you will.
Okay.
I do. And that is, what is one thing that you would tell someone about why self-forgiveness is important in financial success?
Well, until you have self-forgiveness, you don't really have self-loving. And without the loving, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. And so the quest ultimately is loving, and loving ourselves so that we can then give that away in service. And self-forgiveness gets us back into our loving. So be selfish, be ruthless, be as absolutely so get to the root of what it is that stops you from forgiving yourself so that you can forgive yourself. And then you come back into the flow and the energetic of the loving. And then God steps in, and God's always there, but it makes it easier for that omnipotent juice and energy to lift and help carry you through, because we're not doing this alone. But why do we resist? And judgment and the absence of self-forgiveness just impedes our process and makes the learning that much more tedious.
It's really beautiful. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Debbie. Thank you for the opportunity to play.
You know, one thing I'm present to as a way to wrap up here is, you know, gratitude as a real key to financial success, being grateful for what we have as a way to open to receiving more. And Nick, just to express my gratitude for you here to share your wisdom with us.
Well, I can't keep it locked away. It's much more fun to share it. So,
it is much more fun to share it, isn't it?
Yeah, and so whatever spark anybody catches from this, God bless, may it manifest into your wildest expectations and dreams, or your intentions and your dreams. Forget expectations.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you are watching and you would like to learn more about the Self-Forgiveness and Money group, you will see a link wherever I am posting this to the landing page for more detail. You can also email me at info@forgivingconnects.com. So again, it's info@forgivingconnects.com. And I will also post a link to Nick's book. The first chapters that I read were fantastic. And again, that's called On Your Terms. And is the link, is it just onyourterms.com?
It's .net, onyourterms.net.
Onyourterms.net. All right, Nick. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Debbie. God bless.